You go live. Are you ready to go live? Every time you go live, it says, "Are you ready to go live?" And I'm like, if I wasn't ready to go live, why would I press the button that says I'm ready to go live? Right? Does that make any sense? Of course, I'm ready to go live. Yes, I wasn't ready to go live earlier when I was chomping on my salad, but when people enter your life and say, "Hey, do you want to do something really special, really quick?" You say yes. And so here I am saying yes to the planet, to the universe, and to everything else to say yes. Because, like I just said in our Friday Night Live show that we just did a few minutes ago, when you show up, when people send you an invitation to do something, you show up. So that's exactly what I've done. I show up. So when I get an invitation, especially from people that I love and I admire and I respect, and they say, "Hey, you want to do something here in a couple of minutes?" I'm like, "Yep." And you show up. And then you show up. And then these amazing people who add supreme value to your life, who help shape your perspectives, who help give you the confidence and the encouragement to be just yourself. When those people call you and say, "Hey, you want to do something?" You go, "Yeah." What's up, Glenn Morshower? Good to see you, buddy. What's up?
Hold on, Chris.
Hold on, Chris. The echoing voice of the Terminator. Transformer. Oh, what's he doing? What you got going on, brother?
There we go.
There we go. Here we
Hey,
go.
buddy.
What's up?
I was actually just on the phone with Ken, wishing him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ken.
And I told him that I was going to be joining you. And I saw Cindy there. That's nice.
Oh,
And
Cindy.
I know she bounces back and forth between camps. These are friendly camps. Hey, Cindy.
Yep.
We don't have walls running between our camps. We we really peacefully interact because we love each other.
Yep.
And I was watching Chris and Scott earlier, a couple of hours ago, and I don't know. I guess maybe it was, when did you wrap up? You wrapped up about. Well, you wrapped up about. You go 5 to 6, so almost 8 o'clock. It's 9:40. Yeah, so about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
You wrapped up. So, buddy, I called you with something on my mind. Happy birthday, Ken Walls.
Happy birthday. You want to sing? Let's sing.
Yeah. You ready?
You ready? We got to do a good
job. These tend to be completely out of alignment when you do them live, but let's see if maybe we can make it happen, shall we?
Let's try it. Okay, we're going to do it in the key of D.
How about
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ken.
Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
Hope you're enjoying it, dude. Hope you're enjoying it.
Yeah, they're reaching out to Ken all over the world today. He told me he woke up to just a bunch of messages. I said, "Well, is this surprising to you? You're loved, man. That's what happens. That's what happens when you're loved and you are good people." I think it's one of the ultimate compliments, Chris, when someone says, "He's good people." When they pluralize an individual. We're known for that in the South. Here they say, "You're good people." They don't say you're a good man. They say you're good people.
Good people. And here in California, we say you're good peeps.
Oh, is it? Is that the California expression?
Yeah. Well, you know that. You used to live here.
Yeah, I lived there a long time, but I didn't know the distinction. Good peeps, you're good peeps. Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, you're good peeps. Like the little orange, the yellow duckies that we get at Easter. Good peeps.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to add that to my lexicon. That's nice. So what I was saying to you on the phone, and this is a feedback request outing. Hello, Larry. Hello, Glenda.
Yeah. Got some.
And Scott actually is on. That's cool. But I want some feedback on this. I want some thoughts. And that doesn't mean I want a specific kind of thought. It means I want your truth, whatever that is. But when I mentioned to you, I don't know, 20 minutes or so ago when I called you, Chris, that I felt like I wanted to talk about my semi-retirement. It wasn't a joke. And my semi-retirement was certainly not retiring from my acting career at all, not even slightly, nor was it a discussion of semi-retirement from life itself. Nothing has happened. There's no significant turn, but there has been a noticing. So actually, on some level, I guess there has been something that's happened, which is a noticing of I'm feeling this out as I say it live, which you and I both do a lot of talking that way, where we don't make plans, we don't write notes out, we feel it and speak it simultaneously, and we're willing to do it publicly.
Yep.
But I've noticed that there seems to be a dietary, I don't know if it's a need or a dietary desire. So maybe it's just a desire, but for things that are maybe good for a chuckle, but that's about it. And they're not sustainable. That's what we seem to have a diet for here in this country. And I'm not demeaning it in any way, shape, or form. This is purely an observation. It is not one that is accompanied by opinion, but it's just an observation that, for example, an interesting post that could go viral is an individual, and I'm not basing this on something I've actually seen. I'm making this one up. But someone could say that they wanted to show off a lemon meringue pie that had been baked in the shape of the state of Texas or the shape of California. And all of a sudden, this is what attracts millions of viewers, millions that have to see what that is. And as we go along the path, notice I didn't say up the scale, but rather along the path of what is substantive and possibly long lasting or sustainable, or that could make a significant difference in the quality of your life, the numbers often go down, and that there is a target audience for that language. And that through having done this a lot on the internet, I am discovering that the target audience, those are the ones who used to come to events when we held them pre-COVID, and that those are still my peeps, those people. But the difference is they want to speak this language, and they do speak this language, and they want to hear others speak it, and they want to work on the quality of their lives. That matters to them. They realize that they are at choice all the time, and that they can make a massive difference in the world. So these are people who are cued into impactfulness. And certainly this is what your message has been about. So as long as I've known you, is being impactful and being a difference maker in the lives of others. But you do it in the way that I applaud the most, which is that you do it by reminding others that it is in them. You don't do it by reminding them that it is in you, and aren't you cool because of it. You're a great reminder that their answers are within themselves. And that is what I have always done. I've always taken that approach. But it's interesting when you go on a Friday evening, such as now, or any random time, to offer. I saw someone, and I will stay away from names because I don't think that's a good idea. But I saw someone post about others, telling others how to live their lives. And I thought, gosh, I hope that's not aimed at us. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I hope it isn't. And I hope it isn't, because that's not what our show is about. That's certainly not the show I think you and Scott have, but rather these are ideas, they are thoughts, they are approaches, they are strategies, And all of them, what they have in common is they're on a take it or leave it basis.
Yep.
You know, and if you take it, then sample it, implement it into your life, and if you feel like it, get back to us with the results. Let us know, is this working for you? That's a far cry from telling someone how to live their lives. And so I guess that I've been I don't know, discouraged is not a word that I use often, but I don't know that there's a large audience out there for people that can hear helpfulness. This is where I'm at right now, that can hear helpfulness without somehow, Chris, perceiving it to be someone that is so full of themselves that they would designate themselves the instructor for the planet and want to hold a presence online of telling others how to live their lives or how not to. Does this make sense?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we run up against that, time and time again, and watching people's videos and their interactions with stuff that, like I was just saying before, like people are keyboard warriors. They're like, oh yeah, you should do this and you should do this. It's like, if you just, and that we all believe in this, you and I believe in this, especially, is like, if you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and if you've been influenced by all the different people in their life, seeing all the different judgments put against them, you'd be exactly like them. So we have to cut people a break. We have to seek first to understand. But these people that are coming out and saying, you should do this, and this is all right, and this is all wrong, all they're doing is dividing us. I mean, when you sit there,
Right.
you
Tell me
understand
the expression I've never heard keyboard warriors.
keyboard
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
These are the people that are getting behind their keyboards and going, oh, master. But if you got a conversation with them, you say, what do you think about masks? Like, oh, masks, I think are a great idea. I think they're just beautiful. But, behind the keyboard, they're like, oh my God, they become Karen, the typical Karen that we've heard about. And that's the thing that's like totally pissing me off recently. And I'm sure the same for you, is like, people are going like, you should wear a mask. You shouldn't wear a mask. You should do this. It's like, at the end of the day, we should try to do the best we can do to curb whatever's going on in our life and be more of the solution than being the problem. And that's been the thing that I've had the most frustrating aspect of it, is that some people are getting on there and they're pontificating and they're saying, oh, you guys ought to be doing this. You guys should be listening to this thing. It's like, how can we tell somebody what to do? We can only tell them that the outcome that they should try to receive, right?
Yes.
That's the way I think about it. What's your outcome? What do you want to happen? Do you want unity? Do you want love? Do you want everybody helping each other? Or do you want divisiveness and to be, split up? Do you want anger and retaliation and all sorts of stuff? Or do you want to be a part of the solution? I mean, just reach out to your community members. I did a live on it earlier today. I'm like, people sit there and ask me like, what can you do? It's like, I literally have a square block right here, and I'm guilty of this. And I've actually been thinking about changing this, and I will, is that the community in my square block, I should go reach out to them and say, hey, I'm a life coach. I can sit there and help you if you're going through dark times. Or, hey, if you need a meal, I've got some extra food. We can cook some stuff. We can just drop it on your porch. You can come pick it up. Sure. We need to be doing more of that stuff than all this other stuff that we're trying to tell people what to do. It's like, just be a part of the solution. If somebody needs a meal, give them a meal. If they need an ear, give them an ear. If they need a bed, give them a bed. That's what we need to be doing. My thoughts.
That's beautiful. There, in my, what I've now renamed the Dirty Dozen, there are affirmations. They talk about the biggest lies that we were ever told. And one of them is that it's too good to be true. And so I even wonder if that's in play sometimes, where, for example, the work that we're doing, and I'm a big fan of cross promotion. I really learned a lot about that concept during our time on the air with 24, and we would cross promote with American Idol. We didn't compete. We didn't compete at all. We collaborated. And both shows were committed to help bolstering the other, because we were the 1-2 punch on Monday nights for years on Fox. And that works. It really works. Whereas the opposite of that, which we see in the political arena, is called mudslinging. So mudslinging is the opposite of collaboration. And this isn't even a political discussion between the two of us. This is more of a heart discussion. But the idea of collaborating and supporting one another. So, for example, the show that you do, the show that we do, people can tune in or not, but when they tune in, they're tuning in to 3 heart-centered people who are, I don't even want to call it working, because we're not working. We're we're loving. We're loving on each other. We're loving on our audience, and we're connecting with them, and we're offering strategies and help and thoughts and ideas and feelings and certainly experience, right? Experience and rich experience from people who've been around the block multiple times and people who have generated favorable results. And that all of that is gratis. It's all gratis. So there's got to be a pure heart in that, because we give it away. We give it away every week. Your charge for listening is nothing. It's zero. It's, you tune in and it's going to be guys pouring out laughter, pouring out love, pouring out an idea that I know was brought about in the 12-step program, which is their experience, strength, and hope. And they simply want to share it and have no opinion about what the audience does with it. But again, there's no charge. So I think that level of giving and genuineness, what did Glenda say? Sell yourself, not cut others down. Yes, yes, indeed, Glenda. That's exactly right. And great to edify others. Larry, indeed, indeed. It is impossible to fill the harbor. If you're standing around with a fire hose that's, really charged with a big stream, it's impossible to fill the harbor without elevating your own boat. When you fill the harbor and elevate others' boats and how high they're riding, your own boat goes right along with them. And how about this? It's impossible for it not to. Now, that's not the reason. It's just the byproduct. It's understanding that as we love, we receive love. As we give, we are given too. And it's the law. And I have to tell you, too often this gets inverted or tweaked in some way. I think it's manipulation, where people think, aha, then that's the reason I do it. And I got to say, the system is so smart, you will never outwit it. That's not going to happen. So we live in a very intelligent, infinitely intelligent system. And if we think we're going to outwit it, or we're going to manipulate it, or use it to work it to our advantage, it has an amazing capacity to detect our less than pure intent. That's what I'll call it, our less than pure intent. And it could be our selfish intent. And so if we simply trust that we come from love and that all of our energetic contributions are made because we want to do that and we're invested in caring, then everything else comes along with it as it's needed, as it is needed in our lives. It shows up. But I really hold this belief, Chris, that if we give in order to get, like, that's the reason, that's the primary motivator, I really think it puts a clamp on our prosperity.
Oh yeah.
I really believe that, because now we're trying to manipulate what actually works beautifully if we'll just quit messing with it. If we just quit messing with it and trust the process, that I give because giving feels good. I help because helping feels good. It feels right. Not because, well, if I help enough people this week, maybe I'll get that TV series that I've been working on. That is such a convoluted way to interpret the law. We'll call it law. These are natural laws.
Yep.
And it turns out they're immutable laws. They're unchanging, and they're not new laws. They've been in play long before you and I ever came here for our Earth School visit. What is it? I appreciate you. Yeah.
Yep. That
Yep.
part of the apology is that I'm sorry, it was my fault. What can I do to make it better? So those are the most important 3 words as well. But yeah, give, do, expect nothing back. I mean, that's one thing. I mean, I'm so glad you mentioned that, Glenn, because, at a period of my life, I did things expecting a return on investment. Like, okay, if I do this for my team, if I do this for these people, I'm going to get this recognition, I'm going to get that, promotion or whatever it was. But when you just free fall into the fact, when you give without that expectation of return, and you genuinely give, like if you make a $20 donation to the homeless foundation, and you're like, $20 is all I got, and you make that and you send that stamp and you put that out there, you just made a difference in somebody's life. And that person's never going to know who you are and what you did. But that feeling of sending that envelope off, that you know that you just fed somebody, is an amazing feeling. When so many people get caught up in the what it's in it for me. And what's in it for you is, when I think about when I started coaching, and you know this about me, I did my coaching for free for many, 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 many years. I call it pay it forward coaching, where I would coach somebody and say, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to coach you for free, but you're going to go do 3 nice things for somebody else, and you're going to come back and tell me about those experiences. And I thought, this is a great for me to go have people help other people. I thought the people on the other end were going to be the recipients of what it was that was going to be great. Little did I know, after doing this for about 6 months, that these people were coming back and going, oh my God, I went and volunteered at a children cancer ward. I went and volunteered at a homeless shelter. I went and volunteered at a battered kids, thing. And they come back and they have this wisdom, like, my problems aren't that much. I just went and gave a little bit of myself, a little bit of my sunshine, and the rewards coming back into my soul that are going to fuel me for everything else that I need to do is beyond comparison to anything else I would have got financially. If somebody said, here's $100, I would not have got the same lift as going and doing those things for somebody else, and realizing what it is as a gift of a person, as a soul, to go lift somebody else up, to go give somebody a meal that they're hungry. That is one of the amazing things, or lift somebody up with something you say, which is for me like the greatest thing. But I mean, isn't that what you're saying? I mean,
yes, and that's exactly what I'm saying. It occurred to me that I need to share this out. Like, I need to post this on my page. So if you will give me a second, I guess what I need to do is go to there you are.
Here I am.
So I just need to share out. There it goes. And I'm going to share it out to my, studio as well, because we got a lot of people that this is their language.
Glenda, thank you so much for volunteering. That's amazing. We watched your growth already and doing your live videos and being out there and being vulnerable. So thank you so much. And volunteering, yes, that's one of the most amazing things that you can actually do, especially when you get to see the person's face. I mean, it's one thing to write a check and say, oh, I'm doing something, feedhungry.org. But when you go and actually serve a meal, which I've done many, many times, and you see the look on somebody's face when they're actually getting a hot, warm meal, and you're actually smiling and saying, hey, here you go. That is real. I mean, and somebody smiles back. They may have 3 teeth. They're going to smile back, and they give you this huge grin. They're like, thank you. I've been eating nothing for the last 3 days, and you just served me a warm meal with a smile. That is so amazing. And that's what we need more of in this world. I know that's what Pamela's working on. That's what Scott's working on. I know that's what you and Ken and Glenn are working on with a guy named Scott, which is funny. But no, I mean, that's the thing that we need to see more of in this world. And that's what pisses me off and drives me absolutely banana crackers, is that I've told people this privately. I'm like, so you're going online, you're going after somebody who refuses whatever. But if that person is, like, in turn donating $1,000 a month to a charity in your community that's helping people that have disabilities, or is that person so bad? It's like, they don't agree with you about this, but they're doing all these other amazing things. And so many people that's why I posted the question earlier on my page, was like, what does throw the baby out with the bathwater mean? Because it seems like so many people are trying to do that. They're like, oh, if you don't agree with me on this thing, then I'm going to throw you out and I'm not going to agree with it. But that person, just because you don't agree with them on that one thing, that person may be doing 17 other things that make the world a better place. Have you run into that?
Were you asking me that, Bud?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Cindy. I was busy sharing it out. So Will you repeat that? That's why I said, let me do this, because I knew I was going to drift away while I was sending it. Forgive me.
No, just thinking about what it is that we're doing in this world. I mean, shouldn't we be building more bridges and building more opportunities to understand each other than building the divide? I mean, there's so many people out there that are like, this is right and that's wrong, or this is marketing right.
Without a doubt. I mean,
they're not doing anything. And that's the thing that blows my mind, is that somebody they may have a different opinion. Let's just take something drastic. Like, okay, somebody believes in Trump, somebody can't stand Trump. Okay, so, and I've seen people like, if you like Trump, defriend me. I'm like, that person on either side may be doing 17 other things that make the world a better place. They may be donating so much money and so much time to other things, and we're casting them out just based on one opinion that they have of somebody. It's like, we can't continue. We can't do that. So many people are like, if you don't agree with me on this, then leave me. It's like, we need that controversy. We need that iron sharpens iron kind of thing, and be able to have those conversations. And so many people aren't not. They're just like, if you don't agree with me, you're out. I mean, what's your take on that?
I couldn't agree more. That's exactly the way it is. I mean, even my dear soul brother Ken and I are certainly not across the board aligned, but we are across the heart aligned, most assuredly. And I'm talking about very different positions on some key things, but overall, and in my own relationship, this comes up, and we've talked about it many times over the last 43 years, is that everybody deserves to be acknowledged overall instead of just categorically. Yep. They deserve overall acknowledgement. So your score is not based on any one area. It's the total performance. And so I think, honestly, Chris, I think this is some available help to people, is that when we are categorically disappointed in another human being, whether they be just a random person, whether they be a friend, a business associate, significant other, spouse, whatever it is, whatever the relationship, and whether it's disappointed or disappointed, or maybe we've become disenchanted, like we thought it was a particular way, and now the honeymoon phase is over and we've moved into a different opinion because we've seen the light or the error of their ways or whatever. And it turns out that they are marvelous. So these people who complain, for example, about their partners, here's our birthday boy, and I really, he needs to know that we sang to him and that we would love his presence.
It was perfectly orchestrated. It was perfectly
for the first 3 words. It was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think you were 2 octaves higher. I don't know.
But see if he wants to join us, because it would be very special to have Ken here. But may I continue with this, Bud?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So man, I derailed my own thought train here. I saw Ken and I got very excited. Oh, I was talking about differences. So here's an example, is I was talking about differences and all of a sudden Ken pops up. So in my long-term relationship, which is standing at 43 years, 41 of those 43 married, not every moment has been stellar. Not every bend in the river has been stellar. However, when you start thinking in terms of parting ways with someone, I think there's a tendency to believe that you're going to find this magic. Ooh, I'm on a hot topic here, brother. You're going to find this person where it will be so magical that there will be no work to be done on either side. And while that may be true for a while, after a while, things creep back up. And what creeps back up is who we are and who they are. So often when people meet one another, it's under inauthentic terms. So we have what's called the presentational self, where you're not necessarily presenting who you are, but rather you're presenting who it is you wish you were, or you're presenting who it is you think they want you to be. I think this is very common in human dynamics. And so you engage that bullshit act, or they do, or both do. And I think both is more common than not, to a lesser or greater extent. Some people don't do this very much at all, but certainly let's put it this way. Very few people upon meeting one another move right into displaying their worst behavior. Very few people do that. So early on, people are on their best behavior. They tend to be. Would you agree with that, Chris? When people meet, they're not saying, let me immediately reveal what's awful about me. Let me show you.
I go to the bathroom 3 times a day. Let me just tell you that much. No.
Right. And being honest and transparent is admirable. And I certainly encourage that. But I'm saying usually a person is going to be discovered over time.
Oh, yeah.
And they will be discovered, all of us, by what leaks out of us. And what leaks out of us is who it is we are. You know, there's a saying that when you squeeze a grapefruit, you don't get cherry juice out of it. You can only get out of it what was in it.
Yep.
right? So that's really worth remembering, is that the only thing that comes out anytime we squeeze something, including one another, and I don't mean literally squeeze them, but metaphorically, if we squeeze one another, what comes out is whatever was going on inside. And it's really true. And if grapefruit comes out, that's because that's what was inside. So where am I headed with this? Where I'm headed with this is this. When we get to some sort of speed bump, right? A realization, an incident, an occurrence, a chapter, whatever it is. And the first thought is to jump ship. I think it is a huge mistake to think that you're going to jump into another boat where there is no work to be done. And so often you have to think in terms of, this is an area that needs to be spot cleaned within myself, starting always with ourselves, and see if you can find the healing right where you are, because you're going to have to go on. If you can change the chairs all you want to, but at some point it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. If you have issues that are unresolved, rearranging the deck chairs or beautifying the paintings that are on the wall, if the ship is going down, it's going down. And how you beautify it on the way down, by changing partners, by changing jobs, by changing all of that, basically what you're doing is you're repairing the problem at the symptom.
Yep.
I want to say that again. You're basically adjusting the symptom, and you're not fixing the problem. So the problem on the Titanic, for example, and I'm not making light of this, I'm really trying to use this as a teaching tool. The problem when it sank was not the deck chairs. The problem was not the orchestra that was playing. The problem was that the hull had a gaping hole in it. And so fix what is the problem is the lesson here, not fix the solution. Let's quit putting bubble gum on a flat tire and saying it's fixed, right? So we have to think about what is at causation. This was a conversation I had this week with Catherine Franco, my dear sweet friend who runs the studio when I'm away, my acting studio. So whenever we see something that's unsatisfactory, we want to start learning to mature to address it upstream and not a downstream fix, because downstream fixes at best in the micro. It fixes temporarily. But because we haven't done anything about causation, whatever it is that we've esteemed to be broken is going to break again and again and again and again and again. Yes, the no Band-Aid approach. Yep. So it's only going to appear to be fixed. And basically what we're doing, my wife and I are both experiencing that very same animosity from others in our social group due to our simple distrust of Trump as president of the United States and his complete lack of any human empathy at all. This is my friend Joe Ray McNeil, who lives out in Southern California in the Victorville area, long-term friend.
Riverside.
Thank you, Joe.
Riverside.
Yeah, he'll know you. He's from Mississippi originally, dear long-term friend. But so we want to start saying what is creating this outcome instead of, well, I'm going to fix the outcome. That's great. That's great. But why are you driven to do what you're doing that you don't like? I'll say that again. Why are you driven to do what you're doing that you don't like?
Yep.
Because you can stop doing it, but that thing that is driving it is what needs to be addressed. And those are called upstream fixes. And I'm a huge fan of upstream fixes. And I just think it's so tragic when people basically what I'm talking about, Chris, is when someone lets a beautiful automobile go because the stick shift handle was broken.
Mm-hmm.
If you can equate that to a human being, or the car needed new tires, that's not a reason to part with a car.
Yep.
All of us, after a while, need new tires. I've never met a person that doesn't need new tires every few years, or any metaphorical equivalent. So a lot of times we can simply tour through our own operational efficiency and find out where we're skipping a beat. Even cars go in for tune-ups. Are we firing on all 8 cylinders or 6 or 4, depending on what your design is? And if you're not, then you fix the busted cylinder. You don't have to sell the car.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. Bam. Exactly. And I would love it if you guys would chime in on this stuff.
My buddy Bill Lindsay, a guy I worked with for many, many years, a very brilliant mind, very, very brilliant mind. You have a conversation with Bill Lindsay. This guy can quote Socrates for like 10 minutes. He can quote, he's like, we would sit there and have lunch. He's like, Christopher, I was just reading in this blah, 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 blah. And he would recite for like 15 minutes, this poetic stuff. And I'm like, how do you know that shit? So Bill is a brain. He's a heart. He's an amazing guy. But yeah, change can be so difficult. Change can be so difficult if you choose that it's going to be difficult. That's the problem that so many people have, is the belief system. It's like, oh my God, it's going to be so hard for me to reinvent myself. If you sit there and say it's going to be so hard for you to reinvent yourself, it's going to be hard to reinvent yourself. If you sit there and say, I suck at remembering names, then guess what? You're going to suck at remembering names. So yeah, change can be difficult if the fact is, well, now he says, good, Chris. Yeah, it's all about your perspective. It's all about your intention. That's one of the massive learning lessons of what I have seen in the last 8 months of my life, is that when your intention is pure and it is genuine and you are driven to the greater good of what is going on in the world, it's amazing what happens. That's what I was explaining to you on text, Glenn. It was like, it's just amazing what happens when you show up. You sent me that link that one day and it was like, bam, bam, bam. All these things started unfolding. And I think that's great. And we actually have the birthday boy. You want to bring the birthday boy?
Oh, I do. And I want to say something regarding Bill's post, if I can.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Bill Lindsay.
Yes. Amazing.
Bill, you know what a stickler I am, Chris, for words and about words and their usage, because I think that thank you for highlighting that, because I want to cite it. I think we can use words. I know we can. So let me use even stronger language, to our advantage or to our disadvantage, to our detriment. And what Bill has said here, which to me is both brilliant and accurate, is he said change can be so difficult. What he didn't say is change is difficult. And there is such a distinction there, because it's true that it can be. It's also true that it doesn't have to be. So I'm pretty crazy about your wording of that, Bill. Basically, it opens up the door to say to the individual, how difficult it is mostly going to be up to you. So yes, recognize that it can be difficult, but it is not predetermined for us. What is this? Replace a car for a dirty air filter.
Car for a dirty air filter.
That's exactly right. And so, Larry, anyone who knows, I grew up working on cars. Here's the problem. A dirty air filter symptomatically can be a real problem. So if that airflow is blocked severely, then it adversely affects performance in a rather substantial way. So it's interesting. The result and the symptom is substantial. Are you with me on this, Chris? The symptom is substantial.
Absolutely.
But the cause is nothing. The cause, meaning, is inconsequential. It's so simple. It's a frigging air filter, and they're inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
They are a simple trip to an auto parts store. And if you know where they are, and you know what's interesting? You don't always have to give away your power and have somebody else do it. Now, I agree, you shouldn't open up your hood if you have no idea what's going on. But in all truthfulness, Chris, I grew up working on cars, as I said, and there are so many tutorials that are available on YouTube that, so for example, let's say I own an Infiniti. You could say, replace an Infiniti, name the year of the car and the model, air filter. Replace air filter. Ear filter.
Ear filter. You got an ear filter? Is that something?
Hi, man.
I got an ear filter.
This car is incredible, man. It hears your every thought.
I got an ear filter.
It does. It hears your every thought. And so you periodically have to replace the ear filter.
Got to
but in replacing the air filter, all I'm saying is you can go to YouTube and realize that that doesn't need to be a several $100 job. That actually all you had to do was look, and it turns out it's right there on top of the engine, and it's easy access, and you probably pop a little lever that has a case, an encasement that opens it up, and you lift it out and you replace it. And all of a sudden you feel really good because you've done something other than make ice, which is the extent of a lot of people's opinion about their own mechanical abilities. Is, well, I can sure make ice, man. I can make a tray of ice quicker than you can draw your ass back. But it turns out that if you were to look into it, you could do several things.
Yep.
And one of those things that I did this past week is I changed my brakes on my Infinity.
You changed your own brakes?
Of course I did.
You feel
Of course I did. Yes, I've been doing them for years.
Damn.
So that much. I've done hundreds and hundreds of brake jobs. I mean, I do have a lot of know-how with cars, and I was getting new tires, and this company, of course, wanted to commit to the upsell. So they told me that my back brakes were shot, that it was metal on metal, and that the rotors were gone as well, which, by the way, they were not. I just needed new tires. That's all I needed. And I got the tires, and I at least thought I would look at the brakes. So after I got home with the tires, I looked at it, and the brakes were probably about 60% gone. So they didn't have to be repaired right then and there, but it certainly wasn't metal on metal. Oh, I love this from Scott. It's all about choices. Choose to embrace change, and so it is. Indeed. Here's the point. The point is I was lied to. They were not hitting the rotors at all. The rotors were not scored. They did not need to be changed. But what they know is that the average person they cater to doesn't have a clue about brakes or mechanics or anything. So they tell them whatever they want to tell them. The other person goes, well, here's my credit card, fix it. So they wanted $525 for it, which I have, by the way, right? Not a problem. But I will tell you that I felt great about going to the auto parts store, and for $28.99, $30, I got the job done that they wanted I think they wanted 500 and change, like 525, 530, something. So $500 stays in my pocket to be used for other things.
Nice.
Not a matter of being cheap. It's a matter of, if you have the know-how, why are you paying someone else large sums of money? And if it had been a time issue, like I'm out of town, I need the brakes fixed, I'm in Atlanta working on the resident, I tell Carolyn, take it to the shop.
Yep.
But I've been unemployed since March. I don't need somebody else to do what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot of people who assume that once your face is known and you've been on hundreds of television shows and films, those people don't do their own brakes. Well, this guy does.
Love it. Love it.
This
can you bring the birthday boy on? He's sitting here.
I didn't know he was still waiting. Yeah.
He's like,
Oh, Ken should never wait.
What's up, Ken?
Ken
Nobody
should never wait.
puts baby in the corner.
Are you baby? What's up, brother? We got to sing to you again, I guess, right?
Happy birthday, Ken.
Thank you, guys.
What are you doing here? You should be out having fun.
Hey, I've been having fun, man. I don't drink, so
Sorry.
And it's 11:30 at night, so I'm good.
Wow, I got to spend his first half hour of his B-Day, and I'm going to get to spend the last half hour of his birthday. That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, that presupposes you'll be here a while. You might only want to be here for 2 minutes.
I might. I mean, you're talking about changing brakes. You already know how I feel about that.
You're not a brake changer?
And Ken, I expressed it. I said that if I were in Atlanta working, if I had other matters to address, I, of course, would do that, and I would pay someone else to do it for me. But
thank you, Bill.
My knowledge of putting in my own brakes works just like putting in a light bulb. I've never once called somebody to put in a light bulb for me. Why?
Dude, a brake job, though, is a little different.
Light bulb, right?
Your life depends on the freaking brakes working, not a light bulb. Like, you might stub your knee on the wall or something if the light's out, but your life depends on when you depress
Which
that
is why
brake
I
pedal.
love that I do my own brakes, is because I know who repaired it.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
That's
So
why I
you,
don't do my own brakes, because I would I forgot something. I used to do auto repair stuff when I was younger, and I would do like these side jobs. And this one girl's like, "Oh, can you do the transmission fluid in my Mustang?" It was like an 85 Mustang. I'm like, piece of cake. You dropped the 4 bolts, and there was this little itty spring, and this little spring like bounce, and I went, it's a little spring. What the fuck is it going to do? And so put it all back together. I swear to God, I'm not even
Oh,
kidding.
you just decided that parts don't really matter?
It was like a tiny
who needs that little ass spring?
No. Well, I found out. So I put it all back together. I thought it was going to be all good. Like I get home like 2 hours later, she's like, my car's shifting weird. And so I was like, and at that point, I think I barely had AOL or something like that. I remember like Googling, I'm like, or something. And I was like, well, that's a sensitive. Oh, so I went to the auto parts store. Swear to God, I bought more. I had to replace all of her transmission fluid. I went back and I put it all back together and put it back and it was fine. But yeah, it was you
With
find out
with the spring that time.
yeah, with the spring that time, a little bitty spring. Apparently, it's a compression spring that causes the shifting mechanism to. Yeah, it mattered.
Chris,
So-
I would love to tell you that in my school of mechanics, I don't just start throwing shit out. When I piece it back together, I don't go, I probably won't be that.
That's a waste of time. Get rid of it.
I'm not even going to look for that thing.
Yeah, fuck it. No.
Oh, listen to Weldon. Neither one of you should be doing auto repair.
Thank you, Weldon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Weldon. Thank you. I just, yeah, that me, I don't try. Hey, I'm glad you have faith in your brake changing abilities. You wouldn't be doing mine.
Yeah.
You might feel differently if you saw Daddy in his grease monkey mode. If you saw me down under a car, you wouldn't think that's a TV star right there. You'd go, that's a guy that knows what he's doing.
Dude, Jim Neighbors,
yes,
Jim Neighbors changed brakes. He was a TV star.
Who changed his brakes?
Wasn't it Jim Neighbors? Didn't he play Gomer Pyle?
I thought you were going to reference someone who had gone off a cliff. You were going to cite some guy in history that died tragically.
Sam Kinison changed his own brakes.
Sam Kinison Sam Kinison was hit head on by a 17-year-old kid.
He was? I thought he went off a cliff.
No, allow me to illuminate your understanding.
I was supposed to meet him, and I missed meeting him.
So let me tell you what happened. It was 1 week, and this is not from the internet, by the way. I knew Sam. I had a privilege of getting to know him shortly, actually a few months before he died.
Oh, wow.
But he had gotten married 1 week prior to. They were on a honeymoon in Hawaii. He came back over. He had a gig at the Riverside Hotel in Laughlin, Nevada. And was driving there with a couple of other members of his team in 2 different vehicles and a 17-year-old kid. It's a 2-lane highway, 95 there, that runs along the California, Nevada, where they join in southern Nevada, right up by the Needles area. If you know where Needles is, Chris.
Yep.
Right. So just north of there, traveling north toward Laughlin before that turnoff, this 17-year-old kid came across the line and hit him head on.
Wow.
And that was it. Sam, I don't think, was buckled in. His brand new wife of 7 days was. She was fine. He physically got out of the car. This was according to his brother's testimony. He got out of the car and started talking to what they could only figure was God.
Wow.
Started talking and saying, now, do I have to go now? I don't know that I'm, and that was it. And so he understood. These witnesses saw it because they were right behind him and saw the crash, and so they immediately came up on it, and they watched Sam get out of the car and have just a few words, which they figured was a discussion on the other realm, and then he died.
You know, he was an ordained minister. He was a holy roller. And then he flipped.
Then he was in the Bon Jovi video. He did that video with Bon Jovi.
Well, he did, but not as extreme as it might seem. In other words, being a Southern Baptist turn or burn, sinner you hang from a slender thread evangelist, is not dramatically different from being a stand-up comic. And especially in the way he did it, because his whole gig was shouting.
I know.
Which he had mastered in the churches.
He was insane.
His license plate. Do you know what his license plate said?
No.
Actually, that's pretty funny. No, his license.
I didn't want to break your eardrums out, but I was like, no.
Sam drove a Camaro. That's the car he was killed in, and his license plate said X Rev.
Wow.
Wow.
He might be here if he was still a Rev then.
Yep.
Wow.
No,
I remember.
He had a great time. He went out doing what he wanted to do.
Weldon seems to feel that we've changed the mood. I don't know.
So Ken, how is your birthday going?
Dude, it's great, man.
Yeah? How does it feel to be 55?
52.
52? Ooh, you're older than me. Good.
I don't have
I only get to say that now because all my friends used to be older than me, and now I wound up being older than everybody else. So I'm like, when somebody else older than me, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but look, I have no gray. So
I do. I have that. Actually, what's funny about the studio lights in here is I laugh. I'm not even making a joke about this, Glenn. You know about studio lighting. In here, my beard looks very dark and but when I go out and do my Facebook live, when I do my walk and talks, you can see all the gray, all the white.
Oh, so yeah.
In here, it looks all dark, and everybody's like, "You look different out in public." I'm like, "I'm the same person. I have my overhead lights. I don't even have my other light on here, but it's so funny." Yeah, but no, I have gray.
So
and just for the record, that's why
I said it's the new strategy to stay outdoors. I'm sorry, Ken.
No, I don't care.
Go ahead, brother.
Wow, there's my sister-in-law, Julie.
Julie
Kramer Walls. Thank you, Julie. I'm not way older.
I'm used to Ken running
the same age as me.
So what birthday epiphanies have you had? What things in your life now at 52 would you look back on your 25-year-old self and say, "Hey, buddy, I would do this"?
You know, Glenn, was it with you that we had this? I had this conversation. Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah. And
epiphanies.
My 25-year-old self was a little asshole, man. He wouldn't have listened. He would not have listened to a thing I had to say. Even if I said, "Dude, I'm you really in the future. And I'm here to smack some I would have probably fought me back and you know,
I would have too. We all would have.
Yeah. I mean, especially at 25, man, I mean, we know everything. And I, you know, well, 19 to when did that shift? Probably around 40 for me, when I finally realized that, okay, maybe I don't know everything.
Yep, that's true. That's so true, dude, because for me, it was like 40, 45. I started going like, wow. And I just said this the other day. I'm like, when you get to 50, it looks like, for me at least, all the other ages I hit was no big deal. When I hit 50, it was like, I look back and I'm like, that prepared me for everything I'm doing now. It was like this, half game, half show. Like, okay, that was all ego. That was all this. That was all that. Now this is about the real game. That's what.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And this is preparing you for what's next.
Yep.
It's not like that pattern has stopped. It's still in play. So you're going to be engaging in activities that are both about your own current curriculum, right? And your expansion and evolution. And then their importance will be revealed down the road. It's one of my favorite things that the 12-step program talks about, is that more will be revealed. Invariably, more will be revealed. So we don't need to get our panties in an uproar about any singular development. And Ken, if I may, since I've gotten to know the latter version of you, right? I didn't know the former. But I really believe that one of the things this version of you might say to your younger version, since I only know this version, how about that? That's where I think that's one of the advantages that I have over other people with regard to your life, is that I only know this version of you.
Right.
Which means I'm not blinded by any preconceived notions.
My sister-in-law she's on here. She knew me before this version of me.
Okay. But sometimes family,
I read your book. I know every version of you.
Yeah, right.
I
Exactly.
respect, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mean your sister-in-law, but sometimes family can be very able. I substituted the word for guilty. They're very able to assist you in staying stuck because they want to hold you to their previously formed opinion of who you used to be,
Yeah.
and keep and continue to confront you with that of
Yeah.
what you used to do and how you used to behave. So I think that this version of you would look to your younger version and say, "Hey, kid, take it easy. This works
Yeah.
out for you really well." I think you would
Look
have.
at now. Look at what my sister-in-law just said. Because I introduced her and my brother. Julie worked with my
Wait a minute.
my
You
first
introduced your
wife.
sister to your brother?
She worked with my first wife, and my brother had just come back from, was it boot camp or the war? He was in the first Gulf War. I think it was boot camp, and and I said, "Hey, you want to go to the Olive Garden and get drunk?" so so we did. We did. It could have been a movie actually. And Julie opened the door, and my brother's like, "Dude, who was that chick?" I'm like,
So
"You're
Glenda made a comment here. She said, "Hell yes, family keeps you down," and
They will.
I want to just adjust that, Glenda, just a slight tweak, which is that family, if you allow them to, can keep you down, right? Can keep you down, not that they do. So if we decide that family keeps us
Yeah.
down, then we're stuck. We're absolutely stuck with that as our paradigm. There's no way that that is escapable if we just see it as an absolute condition. And I think that it is often that way. But once again, I think at the end of the day, it is up to us as to what we're going to do about it. I think that falls under the heading of a tendency. I
Yeah.
think it is a tendency for families to do that, but we either succumb to tendency or we don't. And we can decide that that's not going to play out in my life. I do think human beings are able to be that strong to just decide what are we giving permission to either play out or not play out in our lives. And family members holding us down is something I'm not okay with. And I certainly don't encourage anyone else to allow it in their family systems, because no person, just because they have the title of being brother, sister, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is, families do not equal being a family member or having a title does not give you a permission slip to try to stop someone else's evolutionary advancement.
Oh yeah.
But
I mean, no title gives you that permission.
I think though what happens is generationally people are, you may have watched your parents as a kid, covertly keep other people down. I don't think people do it intentionally. I don't think there's any like evil part of a person well, I mean, there are obviously evil people, but I don't think that there are intentions. Like, it's not like this conscious thing where it's like, I'm gonna keep my son down, or I'm gonna keep my, it's not like that. Like it's a what they think they have good intentions to keep you from getting into a dangerous situation or whatever, or maybe
they're just operating out of habit.
Right, out of habit, of programming, generational programming. Can I share with you guys something very cool that I did today, though?
What did you do?
I wish you would.
On my birthday. Well, first I wrote a letter to Nassau. I'm just
the Bahamas.
No.
The Bahamas.
I knew I
to the island. Do tell. I want to read this.
That was an insight. That was an insight. Glenn can tell you about that. But it was funnier than shit.
He meant NASA.
NASA.
Not NASA.
I said NASA.
Okay.
But watch.
That makes more sense. I'm good.
Glenn can tell you about that in a minute. But watch this. Alexa, turn off my studio lights. Oh, snap. What's up? Alexa, turn on my studio lights. Boom, what's up? Like I've got my little desk fan. I can tell her to turn my fan off. I can tell her to turn the whole studio off.
Echo, turn my light off.
Yeah.
I got one of them.
Hey, watch
I
this
have,
one.
I have them all. I have them all over my house. But anyway,
I'm right there with you guys.
Huh?
Ken, I'm right there with you guys. Watch this. Carolyn, turn my office light off. She shot me the finger.
So Glenn, you brought us together tonight because you said you had some sort of thing you wanted to share.
Well, wait, he was going to show us something. Or was that it, Ken? Did you have more?
Did you show it? Yeah. Clap on.
Yeah,
clap.
That was a huge.
Hey, you can't clap off the clap.
That was a huge drum roll for minimal payoff, brother.
Well, if you were here and you like, I can turn my fan off.
Serena Buffalino is in the house. This woman is a fucking powerhouse. Miraculous.
Hey,
guys, she is fabulous. Fabulous.
Joe said she's gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
I was about ready to say, did I just hear Carolyn say eat shit? Because my Alexa doesn't talk like that.
Actually, I was bluffing. Carolyn's not even within.
Larry said my Alexa just went off. I've had that happen too. I've heard through a show, like a podcast I was listening to, and all of a sudden it was like the guy on the show said, do something. My Alexa's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's kind of funny.
I gotta mute mine, dude. If you're gonna keep saying her name, she gets really crazy.
Well, that's why I had to say Echo, because we have Alexa downstairs and my voice carries. So I would say, Alexa, play 80s metal, and it would play 80s metal downstairs, and they'd be all pissed off. I'm like, okay, so I'll name mine Echo. And then the literally my master suite bedroom on the other side is Echo. And I say something down there, she's over taking a bath. She's like, why are you listening to metal? I want to listen to Enya. And I'm like, so what, I got to name my damn thing.
Hey, Chris, my friend Susan from Virginia Beach just joined us, and she is asking you to ask Alexa to tell you a joke.
I don't know if you're going to hear it. Echo, tell me a joke. She doesn't know any, I guess.
Well,
I don't know if
apparently very limited material. Ken, if you ask yours,
it will. Alexa, tell me a joke.
Launch a burrito into space?
Why did NASA launch?
The flying salsa.
Why did NASA launch a burrito into space?
So that there would be a flying salsa.
To intercept the flying salsa. Why would it tell? See, they're paying attention. Why did she just tell a NASA joke?
I know.
Huh?
Tell me a joke.
It's going to be a NASA joke.
It is pretty.
You can't smell wind. That was lame.
Yeah, most of her jokes are really stupid.
Well, and that's not true if you're around a big German Shepherd.
Or my kid. He's like, after like 10 seconds after he toots, he goes, toot. And I'm like, you need to say, excuse me, after I've already breathed it in.
Oh my God.
That's funny. So you're not forewarned, you're post-warned.
Right.
Yeah.
After your nose has already had its encounter.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's like off of Step Brothers. Did you see that movie?
Yep.
That's
He's
a
like-
great movie.
He's like, I can taste it. That's
So
funny.
So Chris, did you want me to repeat what I originally mentioned, or haven't I already mentioned it?
No, I just wanted to make sure we had gotten that out because I was.
Yeah, we got it out. I was just experiencing some feelings of that there is a very select group of humans. There is a prototype that is committed to improvement. Again, this is said from a judgment-free place. It is purely an observation on my part, but it's a real observation, and it's not one I just made this week. I've made it for years. So no matter what the caliber of message is from any one of us or anyone we know, no matter what the caliber, there is a large number of prototypes in this world who are not interested. And it's their right to not be interested.
Yeah.
But it does blow my mind. I will admit that it blows my mind that there can be massive interest in things that are of no long-term value and minimal interest in truly significant life enhancing things. Things is an all-inclusive term. So whether it's a life affirming strategy, if it's a methodology, if it's a belief system that has been long held that turns out doesn't serve you anymore, just anything that could be utilized to improve the quality of our lives. That there is a limited number of people that are interested in speaking that language. That blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm used to it, and it still blows my mind. This is not a new observation. I've been aware of this for years, and I've been dumbfounded by it for years.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. Like I said, you can imagine something that's just weird. It's just weird. I don't mean weird as in it's wrong. It's because, you know me, I got into show business. If weird pissed me off, I wouldn't have chosen my life.
Well, we know
So
about the baloney, we know about all the other stuff. So
right. But it could go ahead. Go ahead, Ken.
I just want to point out that my little brother's on here.
Oh, Doug. Hey.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, Doug. So it's we give a lot of attention.
58 and 52.
We give a lot of attention to things that are not driving life forward.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of attention.
Yep.
Tremendous time and attention. And then what's interesting is then people wonder why they're not residents of the town of Happyville. Right? They're wondering what's wrong. And I think it all comes down to prioritization. What are you prioritizing? Where's the work? What are you doing? I'm not trying to get all serious here. It's just, I feel very strongly about it. I believe that the vast majority of beautiful lives are beautiful because people do the work. When you drive by somebody's lawn and their lawn is beautiful, the lawn is never accidentally beautiful. It's never accidentally beautiful. It is 100% that way because someone had a vision of how they wanted it to be manicured. And it looks beautiful because the effort was put into it. And I really don't get that the vast majority of folks understand how much their lives are like a lawn.
True. Got to water it, got to seed it, got to fertilize it, got to take care of it. Yep.
And neglecting it will create a chaotic appearance that after a while, the neighbors, I know this to be true because of a talk show I did with Tim Conway many, many years ago. I'm not name dropping. I'm telling you, I did a series with Tim Conway where they sent me out as a roving reporter. And the very first job that I did on that series was I went down and interviewed a man who had not cut his lawn in 5 years. And he was right in the middle of a beautifully manicured neighborhood. And it pissed the neighbors off royally.
Of course.
And he had lawsuits against him and everything, because they felt like it was devaluing the adjacent properties because he just didn't care. He just didn't care.
What, and you don't name drop. We have a rule about that, right? Or you have a
right. No, I learned years ago not to name drop. In fact, you know who taught me that was Robert De Niro. That's one of my favorite lines.
It's funny.
So you're having a good birthday, Ken? You should. It's 11. What time is it there?
11:55.
He has 5 minutes left of his B-day.
You need your birthday nookie, right? Does that still happen at 52? I'm 51. I don't know.
Wow.
What? You can't say nookie. I said nookie. Birthday nookie? Can't say
Noogie?
No, you said does
Not
that
nookie.
still happen?
I don't know. I know it happens a lot less for me. My wife's not going to watch this. I'm not worried about it.
That's-
And typically, if you've been married a long time and they did watch it, they'd go, "What's your point?"
Mhm.
Right.
Right?
I actually told my wife today, I was walked downstairs. I mean, sometimes she watches my shows, sometimes she doesn't. And I did a couple of shows on Black Lives Matters. And at one point she was upset with me. She was like, you haven't given me any credit for the fact that I was the one that kind of inspired you to use your voice and your platform to kind of speak to these higher conversations. I'm like, you're right. And so the next time I had a show, I totally get an invocation to her, and like my wife, you know, she never watched the show. So tonight I go downstairs after my other show. We're about to eat dinner, and I'm like, she's like, "Do you say anything about me?" I said, "You haven't watched the show where I did say something about you." I'm like, "What am I going to say about you about now?" It's so funny, but yeah. So
Hey, Carol Shockley's here with us tonight.
Carol Shockley. I mean,
Goodness gracious, sound the trumpets.
so younger than 50. Yeah.
Oh, Carol, you still have like the most beautiful smile on the planet. I love her smile.
Great times. Great times. But I do actually have to get back downstairs and put my little son to sleep.
All right, brother.
You guys are amazing. I know we wanted to get on here and wish Ken a very happy birthday. We sang to you earlier. We're not going to sing again. Oh,
No, go ahead. Feel free.
really?
Yeah, come on.
Happy birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, stop.
Happy birthday, dear Ken.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. President.
Oh, that had a little bit of Marilyn Monroe going on there.
Oh, look at him. He's blushing. He's like, damn.
Sounded like a cat was dying there for a second.
Hey, I do a great impersonation of Elvis. Don't even knock that. Don't even knock that. That was
Carol Shockley is wishing you a happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to everybody who's wished me a happy birthday today. That's amazing.
Look at that beautiful smile.
Thank
wait
you.
a minute. Oh, shit. My wife says, and I do watch sometimes when I'm not watching our toddler.
Oh, she
Hi,
is on
sweetie.
here.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you're right. I'm just going to tell her that. Just right. She's right. She told me before I came up here, she's like, I said, I'll be back down. I'll be like 20, 30 minutes. It's like, no, when you get on with Glenn, you guys get on for hours. And I'm like, no. So you're right, baby. So you're watching
What
this.
was that one night? 4 hours?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I think we set a record.
Oh, yeah. No,
Well, if we're signing off, Ken, I want to go to your thing and spend the last minute with you. You've got a minute of your birthday on the East Coast. Now, in Dallas, we're still under court order to celebrate for another hour here in the Central Zone.
Well, I can fire up another one, dude.
Yeah, Governor Greg Abbott has made this a state holiday. This is Ken Wall's Day here in Texas.
yeah.
I mean, I thought it was a national thing, but okay.
I don't think it's grown to that point yet.
Well, Texas kind of is a nation in and of itself. So
I know this. You are my Lone Star.
oh God.
You like that?
That was Jack Daniels down my nose. Thank you. What? You are my Lone Star? Oh, I'm going to get shirts with that stuff on it.
Wow.
Glenn, you are
Hey.
my Lone Star.
Hey, Ken, you got 2 seconds. Happy birthday, my friend. There it is.
That's all he needs.
Your
Oh,
birthday is
thank you.
complete.
Boom.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Yeah, light it. Fire up yours, brother.
All right, I'll send you a link.
Fire up yours. And I'll
Hey,
go over
Roxy,
mine with you.
thank
Chris,
you.
thanks, brother.
Join us over on mine, Chris. Thank you, dude. You rock.
No problem, dude.
Nice spending a little time with you on a Friday night, brother.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
guys. You guys rock. Thank you so much. I love you guys.
Good night. Have a beautiful weekend.
Peace.
Have a good weekend.
We'll see you
Happy
guys.
birthday, Ken.
Ken's going to fire up something. So our traditionals like Weldon and
Yeah.
Roxy.
Everybody jump
Roxy's
over to
here.
mine here in a minute.
Yeah, let's jump over and spend a little birthday time with Ken.
Love you
All right.
guys.
Love you.
Peace.
Love you, dude.